And speaking of things, a lot of people are not very happy about how playing games on PC work, and some people have suggestions about that.
Is it another one of my
Baseline minimum
topics?
requirements and all that. So why don't you let them know about that?
Man, I'm talking a lot this podcast. Whew.
You have a lot to say. No.
So for somebody who's been in the PC gaming space for a very, very long time, I'm talking like back in the day of MS-DOS and games of that nature. When you wanted to play a PC game and your hardware was up to snuff, you simply could not play the game. That was it. Game over. Don't worry about buying the game. And sometimes they would tell you, if your hardware does not have this, and this, then forget about it. Like, I remember back when Doom first came out, and it was like, if your processor does not have a co-processor on it, which you can go buy at Silos and Radio Shack, wow, you couldn't play the game. So it's interesting. Why is people playing with my doorbell? It's interesting that we're at a point now where we have developers making these games, and we have all these baseline configurations. I'm sorry, we have these minimum and recommended configurations. For those who don't really understand what that means, is the developer will make a game and go, hey, the minimum hardware you can run this game is this. But if you actually want to play the game with bells and whistles, you want to go for the recommended PC spec. But the problem is people tend to blur those lines or ignore them completely. So if they say, hey, the recommended game or recommended thing is like a RTX 3080 and you need like an Intel Core, blah, blah, blah. That chime is really pissing me off. Then when you want to play that game, if you don't have this, then you fall into the minimum configuration, which means, okay, you might have to run the game at 720p instead of 1080p. You might have to run the game 30 frames per second instead of 60 frames per second. You might want to cut all these things down. And then people start going, well, this is really dumb. My game runs like ass. Why does it run like ass? Well, you're on the bare minimum now instead of the recommended, and thus your game's going to run like trash. But then you got people getting mad and going on places like Steam and review bombing the game because I can't run this game because I have a potato machine or it's 10 years old and it can't run this game.
Yeah. I think Scott said it earlier on the stream, but I'll let him say what he thinks about the basic, what minimum requirement means. What does that mean to you, Scott?
So for me, when someone says this is the minimum requirement, it is the minimum requirement for you to launch the application. And once the application is launched, anything's possible. But the recommended specs is usually what it means if you want to play the game.
Right.
So do you want to run the game or do you want to play the game?
Yeah. Do you want a slideshow or do you want to experience the gorgeous that is 1080p, 60 frames per second, and all those great things? If you want that, you won't recommend it.
You forget now. Recommended. We do 120 FPS here. No,
exactly. We try to do 120. We try. We don't get it.
We now have frame gen though. No.
We're not even getting to that conversation. People complain so much about, oh my god, it adds latency. These are fake frames, bro. It doesn't matter if it's a fake frame. Is your brain processing that? Or do you just happy to see the numbers?
Yeah. One thing I do also want to note with the specs is that some people will take a look at one specific thing of the spec sheet and be like, oh, I have that, therefore it will run. And don't take a look at anything else on the recommended. So like, okay, so you just need like a 3060. That's fine. And they don't realize that, but you might need this specific high-powered CPU to make it run better. Or to run recommendedly. Because one thing that you notice a lot in like Steam reviews especially is that there's people who will have like a really janky CPU, but because they have like the top of the line GPU, they think they can run anything. And then realize, why is it going so slow? It looks gorgeous, but it's like 10 frames per second. It's like, because you have a CPU from 20 years ago, guy.
Yeah,
it's
gonna run. It's a lot
it's pretty crazy. Like for me personally, though, like when I see people complain about this, one of the things that was weirdly happened, I got Borderlands for PC. I also got it for my PS5 because of I play with friends and or family. Define what you mean for friends or family, different argument. But so
he doesn't play with me.
I mean, friends and or family. Define that as you feel that fit, right?
God, I swear this guy doesn't like me.
I mean, you're somebody, right? That's something, right? You should be proud of that. Anywho, so I was looking up the Steam reviews of the game because I threw a lot of money at this game. $100, please don't judge me. So I was like, negative reviews for Borderlands 4. And I'm like, what is going on here? People were complaining about it runs poorly, and they were like posting their specs. And I'm like, I'm an AMD guy now. Okay, I think AMD is the GOAT. I'm sorry, I AMD.
No, it's not. You think it is? They are.
Whoa! Slow
People
your roll,
need to
buddy.
understand that Intel's shine in the sunlight is gone. They're gone. They dropped the ball.
Yeah, the 13th gen was basically their cliff. They decided
their main guy in charge is out. The people working on the GPUs are out. Intel, the U.S. government owns a portion of Intel.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I'm not even. The sad part is I'm bringing it to polite because let's let me get into that. But it's like politely. So I'm like, these people running these booty computers trying to run a game they couldn't be running or adjust their setting. It's like it's this weird social entitlement, not understanding. Like, this is my opinion. If you're going to build a PC, and I mean this politely, put as much bang for your buck as you can. I think people from this podcast will tell you how to build it. Hit them up. They'll probably tell you like what you should get first, et cetera, right? And it's like I spent roughly 1.4, 1.6K plus discounts on getting a high-end AMD computer. I think the 970, the 9000 model. I had the highest model that's right now. That came so it's like I'm set for the next couple of years. Why would you go to a store and be like, yeah, the video 3026 is what I want, even though 5000 recommended? It's cheaper now. Doesn't mean you'll be able to play games, my guy. If you're trying to, you should invest for the future. And as a social problem, you're patchworking yourself up. Just spend the bread. That's it. Just spend the bread. Because it's an investment for the future, a real future. Because I'm not thinking about any computer parts forever. I'm not thinking for computer parts until like 2035.
But let me get onto the crux or what I was trying to suggest. So I've had this conversation before with a number of people who are very savvy in the PC gaming space, and they all kind of agree. So what I said is that PC gaming needs a baseline. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going, what's the difference between a baseline and a minimum recommended configuration? A baseline is a term we use in the IT space that typically means this configuration works across the board, no issues, everything works just like how it's supposed to. If you apply that to PC gaming, that means the developers will work on a game and they say, hey, look, we're making this game to run on, hypothetical, let's say Steam Deck. This will run on a Steam Deck. Therefore, if it runs on the Steam Deck, it will run on anything that is at Steam Deck level or above, but not below. If you do not meet Steam Deck levels, forget about it. You can't play this game. Don't freaking try. It will look at your hardware and go, no, you can't play this. It has logic. Goodbye. Now, old PC games had this. They would look at your hardware and go, hey, you don't meet the requirements. You can't play me. And that was simply it. And you can't have people complain, go, well, I can't play this game. Well, did you look at the baseline? Does it say you need to have this, and this? No. Well, then why did you buy the game? Now, I know some people will come and say, well, that would hurt PC gaming. And I would say it would actually help PC gaming because people would realize that, hey, if I don't have this baseline, I know I can't play this game. So maybe I'll go out and buy the hardware, if you can find it, to make sure my PC is at that baseline. And developers can focus on working on that baseline. So then when games come out and people go, well, I can't play the game, I'm going to review on the game. Whoa. Or you have baseline? No. Then you have nowhere to stand. You have no leg to stand on. Shut up, go away.
Right. No, and I agree with that. And that's the crazy part about it. It's like your poor social decision making. Whatever's like, I'm broke. It's like, yo, man, what am I supposed to do about that? Like, I'm sorry, man. You're like, you didn't make the right adjustment, financial blah, blah. It's like, you're not entitled to play every game out there and know it just because you had the thing. That's my opinion. It, like, for example, I think when I was using a gaming laptop, and Keith can contest to this, that I was like, oh, why can't I play this game? Your laptop doesn't have the energy. So I had to upgrade. I could not force my laptop to play Marvel Rivals. It wasn't happening. Sorry. So I just made the upgrade, and the best upgrade you good. I don't think, like I said, I think it's really an entitlement issue where people buy. Well, I'm real savvy. I spent $1,000 or like whatever on my laptop, my gaming PC, and it should play everything. Not really, bro. Do you know what you have in there? You know what's inside the hood?
I don't think that's good. Not what you said. I don't think what people do think is valid anymore. Because we're at an age where developers are like, how much power, how much can we crank into this game? How much can we throw in there? How many bells and whistles can we put in here? How many ray tracing effects can we put in here? How much this can we do in here? You know, and it's like, hey, you're every time you add a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a snag to this, you're throwing in more that the computer that's running it is going to have to use. And then don't forget the wacky requirements or shit that game engines do. Unreal Engine 5. Hey, it's probably one of the most busted game engines out there, but it does provide amazing quality. But it has performance issues. Oh, well, we're going to use that. But then you got other games that are using proprietary game engines, and they look amazing, run amazing, no problems, great stuff. But you still need the hardware to run those games. I just think that we would be at a better place if the game industry would adopt baselines, and it would sell more stuff. If you need to be at this level and you're at this level, you're going to go buy the shit to be at this level or above, or you won't play the game.
Right, and from my standpoint, from my money man standpoint, to be super honest, it will also boost up the market because now you're creating a demand for people to buy more stuff, and you can have price control, not price control, but like price up and down, and people will be competitive about, oh boy, the next, I don't know, GTA 6 requires, I don't know, an NVIDIA 7000, right? Well, now that's the baseline. If you get that, would go well, but then there's all the competitors trying to compete with that. Boom, 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 boom. You're selling more. It's common sense, but
plus it will be better for developers. Yes, I know PC gaming has a bazillion different configurations, but if they focus on a less broad configuration, a less broad for the baseline, they can then optimize the game for that baseline, which means if they want to optimize for lower NPCs so that more people can play the game, they can do that instead of going, well, how about we go on the assumption everybody has new hardware from the last year?
Yeah, if you're someone who's focusing on freaking the 5000 series of NVIDIA, good luck.
Well, I just think that and I would love to talk to a developer and ask them why they aren't doing that. And I should probably do that because we do happen to know a couple of them. We should probably ask them why that isn't a thing. I can imagine it's because of cost and or scale and probably a lot longer release schedules, but it would stop things from like being review bombed.
I think it's
negative light.
Oh no, I think it's also like a scale and data issue. Like how much data can you reliably require to know what's the average PC build? What is average PC build? It's not like, for all intents and purposes, a developer like, shout out Supergiant, I love you. Supergiant can just knock on the video or AMD and say, hey, can you give me your sales number in the last 3 years? Something like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing, that that's not even realistic, because you got to remember, people also buy things secondhand and they go on eBay and get their stuff from there as well. But that's what I'm saying. If they don't have to go through all that and just not assume, but say, hey, we don't know the numbers. That's the thing. Like, I'm just trying to be as direct as possible in a normal market. As you point, there's a loophole, secondhand market. There's also tertiary markets where, blah, blah, blah. Again, so it's like, I think it's just the data to acquire that will be troublesome, and to collect and legitimize it, of course. I just think it would be a better thing for PC gaming in general. I'm all for making PC gaming as less painful as possible, and it's gotten a lot better. Trust me, it's gotten a lot better.
It has,
but there's still a lot of room for improvement. A lot more room for improvement. Hell, I would love to get to the point where other developers are making games that run amazingly on these handheld devices, and therefore, if it runs great on that, it's going to run fantastic on your $5,000 super PC machine.